There's a moment in great cinema when the journey isn't really about the road ahead. It's about who we're going after, who we're trying to bring home. In 1956, America was confident, victorious after World War II, expanding, prosperous, certain of its place in history. And in that moment, John Ford, the man who won more Oscars for directing than anyone, gave us The Searchers, the finest Western ever made, in my opinion. A Western that looks and feels like legend. It cuts deep, changes you, lingers long after the closing shot, like a wound healing. It's a movie that questions whether the hero at the center of the American myth was ever truly heroic at all. 70 years later, Paul Thomas Anderson, one of contemporary cinema's finest filmmakers, returns to the Western landscape with one battle after another. A film that arrives in an America that feels fractured, uncertain, and haunted by the consequences of its own past. Two films, two eras, two of cinema's finest directors, asking us the same question. What kind of country are we, really? I'm Matthew Charles Hall for the Film History Network. Saddle up, this one's gonna be a fun one.
Reverend, looks like you got yourself surrounded.
Yeah, and I figure on getting myself unsurrounded.
By the mid-1950s, the classical Hollywood Western was the defining American genre. What superhero movies are today, that was the Western then. Clear heroes riding off into the sunset, clear villains getting their due, and no filmmaker shaped that mythology more than John Ford. He was the architect of the American West on film. He had revitalized the Western genre with films like Stagecoach and My Darling Clementine. He had elevated John Wayne to movie star status. He had won Oscars for bringing stories of the tough, hard-working common man to the screen. Think The Grapes of Wrath, The Quiet Man, and How Green Was My Valley. He had served his country proudly in World War II as a commander in the U.S. Navy, directing war films for the U.S. government in combat zones. And yet, The Searchers might be his most complicated monument. It's a rescue story, but it's also a fairly accurate portrait of the early Western American frontier. Obsession, racism, and the terrifying possibility that the hero may not deserve redemption. The hero in this case? John Wayne, in his finest role, as Confederate Civil War veteran Ethan Edwards. Edwards is returning home to his brother's homestead in Texas, where he's reintroduced to family he left years ago. Within the first few minutes of the film, Ford tells us a lot about Edwards. He's racist towards his adopted nephew, Martin, played by Jeffrey Hunter.
Well, I could mistake you for a half-breed.
Not quite. I'm 8th Cherokee. The rest is Welsh and English.
He disregards the medals he's won in combat. It's also implied that Edwards has feelings for his own brother's wife. More on that later. After Edwards and Martin are lured out of town, they realize they've fallen into a trap. A warring tribe of Comanche Indians raid the family homestead, killing everyone and kidnapping Edward's niece, Debbie. What follows next is one of the finest film rescues ever put to screen. You have to remember, this movie arrives at a strange cultural crossroads. America is thriving, yes, but things certainly aren't pretty. The civil rights movement is beginning. There's segregation in schools. The trauma of World War II still lingers. Most families in the country at this time had either lost someone or most assuredly knew someone who had died serving their country. We had rounded up Japanese-born American citizens in internment camps in one of the most embarrassing acts this country has ever committed. With all of that still fresh in our minds, the moral certainty of the frontier myth was starting to feel unstable. Ford, the master that he was, responds not by celebrating that myth, but by interrogating it. Shot in stunning VistaVision across Monument Valley, this film transforms the landscape into psychology. The desert isn't just stunning scenery, it's Ethan Edwards' soul. Vast, brutal yet beautiful, merciless and alone.
Why don't you finish the job?
John Wayne isn't the comforting hero of Stagecoach, but a man out of time, unable to live in the civilization he helped create. An outlier in strange times as the country around him is changing. He's a violent man, searching for his kidnapped niece, Debbie, played by Natalie Wood. To amplify the situation, Ford implies over the course of the film that Debbie might actually be Edward's daughter. He never says so in the script, but watch the film again and Ford's visuals all point in that direction. But whether you believe that or not, regardless of daughter or niece, Edwards is searching for a country that he left behind before the Civil War, and it no longer exists. That idea is summarized beautifully in Ford's ending. Ethan finds Debbie, alive and well, living amongst the Comanche Indians. She's not just hesitant to be saved, she's fearful that his rage and hatred for the indigenous people might actually kill her. But what does he do when the time comes? He lifts her up and then physically carries her to the doorstep of her new home. But, like Moses viewing the promised land from afar, Ethan cannot enter that home. It's one of the most famous images in cinema, bookending the door opening at picture start. Our hero is framed in the doorway, turning back toward the American wilderness. America is saved, but the man who saved it is long lost. Ford helped build the myth of the American West, but Paul Thomas Anderson is here to scrutinize it in, honestly, most of his films, from There Will Be Blood to The Master, and most recently, in One Battle After Another. No, it isn't a traditional Western, it's something stranger, a story about memory, ideology, and the emotional debris left behind by history. Like Wayne's Ethan Edwards, Leonardo DiCaprio's Bob Ferguson is also a man left behind by history. But where Ethan burns with conviction, Bob moves through his world with exhaustion. A former revolutionary, a struggling father, a man who once believed that change was possible and now isn't even sure of what belief means. Like Ethan, he's pulled back onto the road by the disappearance of a daughter who represents everything that Debbie represents in The Searchers: innocence, the future, a country that still might be saved. Ethan Edwards searches because of vengeance. Bob Anderson searches because of regret. That shift alone tells you everything about the distance between 1956 and modern America. Ford asks if the hero could live inside the country he helped build. Anderson's question feels far heavier. Can a broken man protect anything at all? Both characters keep moving, searching, and they refuse to give up on the possibility that someone, something, can still be brought home. On a technical level, Both of these films embrace their large format imagery. Ford used VistaVision to make his myth. 70 years later, Anderson uses VistaVision to expose fracture. The West is no longer destiny, it's aftermath. Every dip on a highway presents a new threat for our hero Bob Ferguson, the washed-up revolutionary. And oh, what a ride it is. In between tonight's two films, we're stopping our search for a cocktail break, because every great Western deserves a drink worthy of the horizon. Tonight's cocktail is called the Monument Valley Sunset, a drink inspired by the color of Ford's skies, the dust of the trail, and the long shadows of memory. Being that both of our films honor the American Southwest, it's a reposado tequila-based cocktail, and you'll find our recipe in the comments below. And, being a double feature, we might be chasing this cocktail with a few small beers. If you've seen the film, you get the reference. Both of tonight's films are widely available from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. In fact, The Searchers was just painstakingly restored by the Warner Archive in glorious 4K UHD, and that VistaVision has never looked better. Check out our links to pick up your own copies of these two must-have movies. Here at Ford's, we talk a lot about heroes. How this place is even partially named after John Ford, one of my filmmaking heroes. His original studio contract with RKO Pictures is actually here in our archive. But in those talks about heroes, the question is rarely does the hero win. Some of cinema's finest moments prove that he or she doesn't have to. And that's life often, isn't it? Maybe the more important question is, can the hero ever come home? From John Ford's Monument Valley to Paul Thomas Anderson's Fractured America, the search continues. And maybe so does that hope. You've been watching the Film History Network. I'm Matthew Charles Hall. Keep searching, keep watching, and we'll see you at the movies.